In the near future, mysterious monsters appear all over the world and start killing humans until only a few survivors are left. These creatures have tough armor and are blind, so they follow sounds to hunt their prey. On day 89, the Abbott family goes to town to get supplies from a supermarket. They move carefully and don't speak. Instead, they communicate through American Sign Language or ASL, which they know because the daughter Regan is deaf. The youngest son Bo reaches for a toy shuttle on a shelf and can barely grasp it, causing it to fall. Thankfully, Regan catches it right before it can make noise. Meanwhile, the father Lee grabs some items that'll hopefully boost the signals on their radio. When they're about to leave, Bo brings the toy shuttle. However, Lee takes it away and removes the batteries, explaining they can't bring it because it's too loud. Once Lee, his wife Evelyn, and the last sibling Marcus are out of the store, Regan gives Bo the shuttle back and Bo secretly takes the batteries. The family starts making their way to their home by walking barefooted on trails of sand they've prepared for supply runs. When they're crossing a bridge, Bo inserts the batteries into the toy and turns it on, causing a lot of noise. This attracts the monsters, and by the time Lee reacts, it's too late. Bo is already dead. By day 472, Evelyn is 9 months pregnant. She'll be giving birth soon, so she regularly checks her own vitals and listens to the baby's heartbeat. Marcus and Regan plaster the walls of the baby's room with newspaper to soundproof it. In the farmhouse basement, Lee monitors the family through a surveillance system. He's got notes of the creatures' abilities and lots of newspapers on the subject, but he hasn't found how to defeat them yet. Every day he uses the radio to send SOS signals to no avail, and every night he sets a fire on top of the silo. The residents in the distant farms always return the gesture. For meals, Evelyn cooks inside a hole in the floor and dine without using any utensils. The tokens in the children's board game have also been replaced by pieces made of cloth. One evening, Marcus accidentally knocks over the oil lamp and causes a small fire. Lee immediately rushes to put it down, but the crashing sound may have attracted a creature. A sound outside makes Lee take a peek, and fortunately, it's just a couple of raccoons. The little guys run away and are killed by the monsters outside the farm. Afterward, Lee works on amplifying a hearing aid for Regan with pieces from a radio. Evelyn interrupts him and they share a sweet moment by dancing while listening to music on earbuds. On day 473, Regan walks through the house by stepping on the green paint marks not to cause any creaks. When she's about to enter the basement, Lee takes her away and reminds her the basement is off limits. He then gives her the hearing aid he modified, but she doesn't want it because they never work. Moments later, Evelyn is teaching Marcus math, but they're interrupted by Lee, who wants to take Marcus on a hunting lesson. Regan wants to go too, but Lee doesn't let her because it's too dangerous for her condition. Devastated, Regan goes to her room and finds the hearing aid Lee made. She tries it on, but it doesn't work. Then she packs a bag and leaves the house to visit Bo's grave on the bridge. Regan takes the shuttle out, snips the wires that cause the noise, and places it at the memorial. At the river, Lee retrieves a fish from the net he's installed. When he puts it down on a rock, the fish flaps around and Marcus gets scared, but Lee stops him from running. He explains that the loud noises of the river cover up the smaller sounds. Then they go to the waterfall and Lee teaches Marcus that they can scream there with no danger. Once they have enough fish, Lee and Marcus make their way home and come across a woman's body in the woods. There's an old guy standing nearby and Lee makes a gesture to ask for silence, but the guy can't deal with his grief and screams. Lee immediately picks Marcus up and runs to hide behind a tree, where they keep quiet while a monster arrives and kills the man. In the farmhouse, Evelyn goes upstairs with a bag of laundry, which gets caught on a nail. She pulls until she gets the bag free, not noticing that she's exposed a sharp nail. Moments later, she's shocked to discover her water has broken early. She rushes to the basement and accidentally steps on the nail, causing her to drop a glass picture frame. Managing not to scream, Evelyn makes sure to turn the red lights outside while noticing there's already a monster upstairs. The lights are seen in the distance by Lee and Marcus, who begin to run to the farm. After setting up a timer, Evelyn hides behind a wall and covers her mouth as a monster enters the basement. Suddenly the timer goes off, and while the creature jumps on it, Evelyn rushes upstairs only to find another creature. She runs to the first floor and gets in the bathtub, struggling with her contractions while the beasts search the house. Outside, Lee tells Marcus to create a distraction. Marcus sets off some fireworks in the field, causing some loud explosions that cover Evelyn's screams as she gives birth to her baby. Regan sees the fireworks from the bridge and starts starts making her way home while Lee finds his shotgun and enters the house. Following the trail of blood, he enters the bathroom and panics when he sees the tub empty. However, Evelyn is hiding in the shower with a healthy baby boy. Then Lee takes Evelyn and the baby to the barn where they prepared the special room. He closes the hole right before the monster could find them, and when the baby starts to cry, Lee puts an oxygen mask on his face and places him inside a wooden crate where his cries are muffled. Once Evelyn wakes up, Lee leaves her with the baby and goes out to find his other kids. Unaware the monsters broke some water pipes. In the field, Marcus gets scared when he hears some noises and begins running, only to knock himself out from running into a tractor. Soon Regan arrives and stops when she sees the light of Marcus' flashlight. A monster tries to approach her from behind, but Regan's hearing aid produces a high-pitched frequency that scares the creature off while also hurting Regan's ears. Afterward, Regan follows the light and finds Marcus. The siblings hug before climbing on the silo, where they start a fire to get Lee's attention. Unfortunately, they run out of lighter fluid and the fire dies. In the barn, Evelyn finally notices the water because it's flooding the room. The baby's crate is floating and there's a monster standing nearby. As the creature dives in, Evelyn very carefully reaches into the crate and retrieves her baby. At the same time, the creature resurfaces an inch away. Then she slowly backs away and hides in a corner behind some falling water. In the meantime, the siblings argue over what to do. Marcus accidentally falls through a hatch into the grain-filled silo, and the broken door lands near him. At the same time, Lee finds Marcus' things and climbs on the tractor, seeing his kids but some monsters moving towards the silo. When Marcus begins to sink into the grain, Regan jumps into and pushes the door for him to climb on. Now Marcus is safe, but the one sinking is Regan, so Marcus reaches for her and pulls her out. At that moment, a monster gets inside the silo and the kids use the door as a shield. Once again, Regan's hearing aid reacts and its pitch scares the beast away, leaving a hole in the wall. Lee soon reaches the silo and his flashlight is a sign for the kids to come out. They can hear a monster nearby, so Lee makes the kids hide in the truck while he grabs an axe. Suddenly a creature hits Lee and knocks him down, causing Marcus to scream. Regan's hearing aid starts getting noisy again and it's so painful that she turns it off, but this allows the beast to jump on the truck. A barely alive Lee manages to stand up and signs "I love you" for the kids before he screams. The monster immediately goes to him and kills him, allowing Marcus to drive the truck back to the house and reunite with their mom. Hearing more creatures coming, Evelyn takes Regan and Marcus to the basement. Regan looks at Lee's notes on the creatures and finds all his experimentation with different implants. At that moment, a monster enters the basement and Regan notices its presence messes with the security screens. As the beast starts trashing the place, Regan turns on his hearing aid and the monster starts wriggling in pain. Then she puts the aid on the microphone, magnifying the pitch until the beast collapses. Soon it attacks again. This allows Evelyn to shoot it and kill it. Seeing more creatures coming, Evelyn realizes how to kill them. This is the end of the movie Quiet Place.